on-chain. Hey, on-chain revolution, Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck, sell it through the stack. Ordinals the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Rich, look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing interview for you guys today. Today, we have the legendary Benny. He's built Trac systems. He's built Tap. He's built so much, and now it's looking like Tap is about to evolve into something truly special. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to break down exactly what he's built and what he's trying to build with this new system here. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Benny is somebody who is extremely busy. He's somebody we've been trying to talk to for a long time. As you guys know, we did Tap Tuesdays for about 3 months, and that was awesome. It was really cool to kind of see the builders and see what they're building and kind of watch them grow as, not just humans, but actually developers as well. So that was amazing time that we had. And, we've been covering Tap since the very beginning, right? Covering Tap since 2023 when they first launched, and they've grown pretty big. And today we're going to kind of break that down for anyone who's kind of new to the ecosystem and people who just been here for a while. So without further ado, let's get this started. Bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
How's it going, man? How are you feeling about today's interview?
I feel great, man. We have our good old friend Benny, and when I say old, I'm not saying age. I mean, like, we've known him for a while in the space, and we've covered it since, like you said, that late spring of 2023, right? And I just remember when Trac first launched, and I was so bullish on it. And I remember they had like that arcade graphic, and I would be like, "Hey, check this out! It's like an indexer for infrastructure," and it really blossomed into something really cool for that year, right? And they've evolved right into like having a meta protocol, and then also having an AMM on layer one, leveraging the ICP tech stack as well, but doing it all on layer one as well. And then now we're going to get into the Hypermall, right? So I'm excited to ask a couple questions, get caught up with Benny. So ready to dive into that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring up Benny. Benny, welcome to OnChain Revolution. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. We talked to you like last year. We were Ordinal Revolution. We were, and now we are OnChain Revolution, covering everything on chain. Really, just trying to bring people from exchanges on chain. Right, that's our main goal: education. And we definitely want to educate the audience on what you're building over there. So, if you kind of give us a rundown, maybe for some new people, and kind of go into what you built.
Yeah, so Tap protocol is a specialized meta protocol that sits on top of Bitcoin ordinals in specific, and the mission of Tap protocol was always about solving a few things that naturally occur, when you do things on Bitcoin, and do a little bit more than what people thought would be possible. I believe we have achieved a lot of that. For example, with the Tap wallet just recently, one transaction transfers, but true ones, that also come with a lot of other benefits than just one transactions. For people who are probably not aware why one transaction is even a thing, but that, right? When we had the emergence of BRC20, for example, there's always this kind of crookedness, you need to transactions to transfer tokens. In the meanwhile, runes solve that by itself, the way how UTXOs work. But we are here like, we have account-based meta protocols on Bitcoin that can also do that in one transactions, plus you're keeping the postage, and have that reflected in the Tap wallet, for example, and use that the idea that sits on top of that also in the aforementioned AMMs that we built.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys have definitely rolled out multiple different products and services in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'm curious to what your opinion is with the current state of the Bitcoin ecosystem. There's always this saying of all roads lead back to Bitcoin, but I think there's an extension of that possibly, to where that doesn't mean that there's one solution on Bitcoin. There's multiple talented builders, and you guys are definitely one of those. Do you see, first of all, how do you feel about the current state of the Bitcoin ecosystem? And number two, do you see a possibility where there's multiple options of like success?
Yes. My personal opinion, and I was just saying that recently, a few times, I find it a little bit irrational. Yeah, or found it a little bit irrational that we zoom out, on literally at the Bitcoin chart, how bearish the inner Bitcoin space can be while looking at that. That's a divergence, right? So, and I'm like, okay, why? Yeah, so why is that? Yeah, and I haven't come to a final conclusion for that yet. But what I know is when there's a divergence, at some point things get interesting. Yeah. In what way that goes, I do not know. Yeah. All I know is I want to be present when that happens. Yeah. So from because I'm working also like any other developer also, and I'm communicating with other developers, not necessarily in our company, but with other people. There is a lot of grinding going on in the background that people just do not see, and that's what you are saying, is that really great, talented people. Yeah, just had just 2 minutes or 5 minutes ago, I was talking with DotSwap. I believe what is going to happen is that there is an understanding now in that space, especially in the builder space, where builders don't see each other as as harsh competitors, really, but rather working towards a common goal, because in the end we are competing with whatever happens outside of Bitcoin, right? And I know for a fact that there are people with pretty good capabilities that are not in our like in our Bitcoin space, the specific space that emerged from ordinals and runes, and things like that, that are just there, but they're doing already something with Bitcoin. Just recently I heard about life insurances, that utilize Bitcoin. You literally pay your insurance fees in Bitcoin, and God forbid, but if something happens, you're getting the payout in Bitcoin, right? And that's happening, and nobody from us really knows that, because they are not in our space. And I believe when it comes to sentiment, that's one of the aspects where that add to that divergence idea. We just see our things, we work stealth, we're just in our self-contained area, but someday somebody opens that box again, and then this all comes out. That's somehow I feel about that.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I love the growth, and that I've seen in you guys, man. Especially, it did seem like in the very beginning you guys were a little bit closed off to the rest of the ecosystem, but now it feels like you guys are really growing and really kind of utilizing the tools and the other builders from other places.
Yeah, that's correct. When you I know where this closedness comes from, and it's actually true. When you build infrastructure, you build the infrastructure first, in terms of you're laying out your plans, right? You're executing on these plans. Then you see others around you, how are they doing that, right? And you don't really have time to communicate that. I don't know how to explain that, right? So you're focused like laser eye on your thing there. You're doing that, right? And in the end, you see then oh no, there's no end, but at some point you see that you're working like towards a common goal, right? And then you can start to utilize tools from somebody else, right? You can somebody else uses your tool, right? And it all gets kind of intertwined then at some point. That's a cool thing about that. And that's also the moment, like when people realize, oh, they are not so close off, they were just building. That's all that they did, right? So And in that sense, that's literally what happened. And I tell you what, it will keep happening. Yeah. So we have the neck. We have like a ton of things that we're working still, right? So that's by far not the end of it. Yeah. It's just that that you have like small openings, right? That you can put your head out, at some point. Here's this cool thing that we did. Try to let people know about that. Okay, then we'll go back and develop the next thing, right?
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying there, and it wasn't just Tap Track. It was other builders as well in the beginning, because I think there was like this arms race. But now I 100% notice like there's more collaboration within different meta protocols, builders, etc. in our ecosystem. I love to see that, because you're right. There is a common goal. First, Bitcoin has to get the attention and the belief of everybody outside of the ecosystem, which I think is going to happen. And so. Super exciting stuff. One thing with Trac and Tap is evolution, and that happens naturally with builders that are continually building with a changing market dynamic, and we've seen that with the Bitcoin ecosystem more than any ecosystem, I think, the past year and a half. So with you guys, like Trac is that kind of infrastructure indexer, and then Tap, the meta protocol that lays on top, and also the Trac validators, and that's all kind of works its way into where you are today. Could you explain what it is that you guys are focused on right in this moment, and how that project or part of your project benefits the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Yeah, we're heavily focusing on the Trac network. There will be a mainnet release. The original idea of indexing is not gone, which means there will be actual tap indexing. It is just that this turned into something way bigger. So it's an L1 meta network, yeah, so to say, that's not using blockchain, yeah, but it's fully peer-to-peer. Fully peer-to-peer means not only that the ledger is shared decentralized, right? So, but also the actual communication between the participants, between the apps, between the validators, like literally everything is happening in real time via peer-to-peer protocols. And this is a hard task, especially making this task usable for other developers. Yeah, and we include ourselves to that, because I wanted to have a framework that's very simple, very easy to use. It's utilizing a programming language that 20 million at least people know, yeah, how to use, right? Things like this, and it's fast, yeah. So we achieved this, and to bring it further on mainnet, that's literally what we're focusing on right now.
And this is Hypermall is kind of what you're explaining now, right?
Hypermall runs on that, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Hypermall runs.
I got you.
Hypermall is an app on that network. So we released already the subnet capabilities of the Trac network, which means we are giving basically up the chance, to go full blown out with Trac as a gas token yet, but we want to have certain things done already, and that's why we went with the subnet first. It's an unusual approach to do that. Totally admit. Yeah, usually you wait for mainnet release, yeah, and then there is testnet, right? But the subnet is basically tested. Like, I mean, the work started in 2023, right? So it's stable, everything works, and the Hypermall is a testament of that. But that's literally what this is about. Yeah, for now, it's an app that sits on a Trac network subnet, and we will have a mainnet release coming up in a few months.
Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't realize that they were separate things. That's really cool. So you talk about like a subnet. So are you guys, are other people building in a subnet, or do you think you're going to have different subnets that kind of go with that? And will each subnet be able to talk to each other? Are we going to have communication between subnet to subnet?
Yeah, a really great question. So I think it's important to understand what the general concept behind this is. it's utilizing some of Bitcoin's original ideas, yeah, not in a technical sense, but in a philosophy sense, yeah. And that basically drills down into the individual subnets. By design, I want that there are subnets that are not connected to anything if a developer doesn't want to do so. Yeah, there are good reasons if you just don't want to be connected to some mothership, let's say, right? And then there is a thing called network partitioning, literal disk space partitioning, right? If you, for example, look at Solana or other chains, they have huge ledgers, partially petabyte wise of data. And when you're validating this, right, you're validating things that you're not interested in, really. Yeah. Plus, you have the burden of hosting all these. Yeah. I don't want to throw Solana under the bus, but I was reading a lot about validators that started to lower their TPS because it simply went too much, and it was pump fun already. Yeah, I don't even want to know what this is now, right? So and and despite of all the great things they did, yeah, for the space, right? It's a problem. Yeah. So and if you want to have a truly decentralized not just a truly decentralized platform, you also want to have a truly decentralized ecosystem. That's what we're doing. And we have validators. The validators, in the same vein, these are literal individuals that run their own businesses that can strike deals with individual apps. So they validate individual apps. The individual apps with the individual subnets, yeah, can make deals with them. Hey, we need validators. Can you help us out here? Yeah, we can give you this for that if you do the job, right? That's something that they do between themselves. So and what I mean with Bitcoin philosophy in that sense is it's about self-custody down to the developer, up to the consumer, including the validators, yeah, and aside from the self-custodian element, it's also in the end capitalism, right? Also what Bitcoin does, right? So it's really hyper capitalism, if you can see it as such, right? So you need ASICs, you need cheap energy, yeah, to outcompete others, yeah, and get more Bitcoin. In the same sense, validators, right? They need to spot the promising projects that they can get rewards from. Then they allocate their validation to those projects, while others validate something that's probably not so sufficient, yeah, in earnings. So it's like supposed to be like that. There are actual subnets, and the mainnet that we're bringing out is basically an option for projects that do not want to go through all these validation hoops, yeah. But then the transaction cost Trac as gas token. It's choice.
I love that. So there's two options there. You can, if you want to get more specialized, then you can kind of go the subnet route and that, work with the validators. Or if you just want to kind of go in a typical kind of, blockchain, I know it's not blockchain, but like that approach with the mainnet, then you can just come on to the ecosystem that way. Is that right?
Correct. It's absolutely correct. Yeah. That's what it,
okay, so for the developers that might be listening to this, because like their antennas might be up here, because it sounds interesting for sure. What type of languages are you guys using? Are you taking like the WASM approach to make it more broad? Are you going more specific, like Rust, or what's your approach to this?
We're going very specific for the platform language. That sounds a little bit like I know how the Rust boys are seeing this, right? But we chose JavaScript, yeah, plain old JavaScript for good reasons. The whole infrastructure looks like it's running on Node.js, but it doesn't, right? It's using the peer runtime, even the decentral, even the distribution and updates of the apps, for example, they are decentralized, yeah. So it's not going through a Node or npm at that point, right? So if you're releasing an app, yeah, and there are updates for that app, I don't know, it's like a game or something, yeah, who knows? the distribution is decentralized. At some point, you will have, for example, our own marketplace, for decentralized apps. So it's like literally like from A to Z decentralized.
Yeah.
And the hard part is just to make that work. That the consumers actually don't feel that really. So for example, Hypermall is yet something you need to download on your desktop, right? There's a good reason for that. First, we need to start somewhere, but we also need to showcase how powerful that is, right? So smart contracts are run locally on your machine, right? That makes it like not only more safer in terms of you don't need to connect your wallet somewhere else, but also it's all snappier when you compare that with other things that happen in crypto. And from there, we're going to the mobile route. We also have a classic Web3 route, but it happens that we still need to develop that web wallet for that in the first place. It's going to be in that Tap wallet. So at some point, we need to rename the Tap wallet more like to an ecosystem wallet. You hear already, it's still a lot of work, right? But we need to start somewhere. That's why we started with desktop. And next week, if everything goes right, we can even show you that running, that Hypermall running on mobile, but not as you think. That's really funny, right? But it's going to be really funny. But it's also gives probably users and people an idea what else and what other directions that this can go. Because in the end, I want that you can do a lot more with crypto than just operating a wallet in the end. That's what everyone wants, right?
Yeah, and I think you guys going the JS route. I think it's really smart because, especially if you're trying to, it's an opportunity to onboard the everyday programmer, right? The traditional programmer, and Web 2 transitioning to Web 3. I think it's a great idea. So we'll see how it plays out. And I'm also interested in the mobile app now, because I'm like expecting like cartoon characters or something to come out there.
The point with mobile is when you install it, I don't know, a typical crypto app, you install it from the app stores. It's very most of the times it's the browser in disguise, right? And the problem is not so much to do what we're doing on mobile, but we need to get on that desktop of that app store reviewer. It's a lot harsher than the Chrome store, for example, and need to convince them, hey, guys, we're not trying to be spooky. We just want to do this and this, and that's the hard part of it. There will be a lot of back and forth. Just recently, also the Windows desktop, right? I wouldn't say I'm a Apple boy, right? But I like Unix, Linux, so I'm working on Unix-like systems, right? So now in my simple world, I was like, okay, you sign the code, people can download that, cool, there is no issue. Until you build that for Windows, right? Turns out you have to get a hardware token from a certificate provider. You need to do KYC, KYB, then that provider sends you a USB stick so you can sign the code, right? So got already a taste of that, right? We're still waiting for that, by the way, for that token, since I think 3 or 4 weeks, got really caught amid building. So still waiting for that. For now, it's self-signed, but I guess it's on the way. I guess next week we can re-sign that basically, and then you don't need to import a certificate for that anymore. But it's that kind of hurdles that you're going through if you do it that way. Nevertheless, as I said, we have a Web3 style of doing that. We just need to have that then reflected in the wallet. And we also have good interest so far in Trac network itself by other developers. They keep asking me, how does it work? I would really like to incorporate that. Especially last couple of days, very interesting talks with other builders about that, and it seems to be also useful to others. So that's why it's actually cool to see that it works. The way it works now is already well received and potentially solves problems for other people too, right?
Yeah, love it, man. I want to jump into Hypermall a little bit here. So Hypermall, it's obviously you explained it as a subnet. Could you kind of dig into it a little bit more for everyone who doesn't know what it is? So from my understanding, let's just say I have Trac on BRC20. I have to deposit that Trac into Hypermall, and then inside Hypermall, it's this super fast pace, basically liquidity pools and trading and other stuff's being built. But for right now, it's just trading. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. For now, it's just trading. There's no BRC20 support yet.
Okay.
There might come. I'm waiting for BRC 2.0, how that works out there. My gut feeling tells me it will be cool. Yeah, and then it's also more than welcome addition to Hypermall. As far as I know, they are building a lot towards to make that work like literally from a low level. Yeah, so there's probably not yet a fast option. Maybe through fractals. I don't know. I'm not super familiar. But I believe fractals has also like 15 or 20 seconds block time. We have 100 to 200 TX finality per second. Yeah, so it's fast. Yeah. Actually, we have in the Hypermall the problem right now that the transactions are final faster than the basically the front end can update in the sense of takes too many resources, yeah, because there's a lot of people doing stuff, for example, yeah, and then there's a lot of updates. So we have we're very defensive yet, yeah. So when you see an update there, it means like the transactions happened long ago already, yeah. So but these are minor things, right? So, and how it works is it's basically an app subnet that just solely focuses on that app. We call these smart peers. So everybody who runs the Hypermall is using a smart peer. Smart peer contains a protocol that you define for your network. It's very simple, and the protocol that corresponds and the contract that corresponds to that protocol that you define. Yeah, and when you run this, you're joining basically the peer-to-peer swarm. Yeah. You have locally a wallet, although we try our best so that you don't feel that really. Yeah, so there are no transaction fees. Yeah, so when you deposit assets for the TAP protocol, yeah, for example, what you're doing there is you're using the token authority feature of the TAP protocol. Then this is assigned to your local account, and you still sign transactions in the Hypermall when you perform that, and you sign transactions then, of course, when you do the withdrawals, and even the withdrawals are going through the smart contract. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so when depositing, you're using, I forgot about what was it? Token authority?
Token authorities. Yeah.
Authorities. Yeah. I forgot about that. I remember that we first came out. That was Gib, right? That introduced that.
Yeah, exactly. Gib was basically the demo of that, and it's also being used for one transaction transfers. It's the same thing. Yeah? It's only that in the wallet you are your own authority. Yeah.
Wow.
So go ahead. I was going to say right now, you can, the two meta protocols in terms of fungible tokens in there are Runes and Tap, right?
Correct. We were seeking to extend. Yeah. It always depends a little bit on the user experience, right?
Yeah.
So we were going to most likely end of this week. We will be having Cardano support on TAP protocol.
What?
So
wow.
ADA will be available. We're also going to raise the governance world to have some I don't know, dog tap / ADA there, but this is going through the bridge. Yeah, so you would not go through you would need to go through the Taparoo swap bridge, yeah, to make that basically a tap asset, and then it's basically on the TAP protocol side. But we also, where it makes sense, yeah, We have the capability to do that with the Trac network. We're also in that sense trying to, where it makes sense, to make people not go through that. There are good reasons why you want to go through the TAP protocol. Yeah. But there are also sometimes good reasons why you don't want to go through the TAP protocol. So and then finding the sweet spot here, right, is what we're looking for. For the TAP protocol, for example, where it makes sense, when you're coming from Cardano, yeah, you're coming already from a UTXO protocol, right? So you have these UTXO yada yada yadas anyway. You probably don't want to experience that on the other chain that you're bridging into. That's where TAP protocol comes in. Yeah. So if you're transferring something, you're not losing your postage, for example, if you do a transfer, right? And you're doing it in one transaction. You just don't want to do that. For other assets like like Solana, like Sol, I don't see that really that they're going through TAP protocol, because of their speed. How does that look like for them, right? They don't, the users, right? They're like, what are you putting me here into, right? But still, we want to have Solana at some point to interact with Bitcoin assets, right? Bitcoin assets. So that would be then something that we would rather not, put through. Put through a bridge, like a protocol bridge.
Yeah, can't wait to dig in that tap. I want to dig into that a little bit. But I have two more questions about track systems. So, and this, so I listened to your space last Thursday with Fitzy, and I'm really wrong about the tokenomics of track and how it's changing a little bit there. So shout out to Fitzy, because I learned what I know from the Block Runner podcast they did about that. So from my understanding, and I thought that track now is technically getting more. It's actually expanding a little bit. Could you just break that down for us a little bit for anyone who doesn't?
Now the point is there's just no black and white in this, right? So
okay,
how not to make it too technical? For the Trac network, we're going to look at constant transaction costs nominated in Trac. Constant. We don't have that problem. That the validators, because they are putting everything on their ledger, have to take more Trac because they're storing more, because of the partition, we talked about earlier. So we have constant costs. So that's one important element there, right? Just listing them for now. So then you have the fact that many people probably from the initial mint of Trac on BRC20 never had access to that. You know yourselves how that was, right? Everybody was minting something left and right, and people just don't know anymore where their wallets are, right? Simply because it was hard to do, hard to set up. So, boom, there is a lot unknown number, of Trac that we don't know will make a transition into Trac itself. Then there will be 100%. We're doing our best, like literally our best, to make all people aware that there will be a moment when this needs to be transitioned, and it literally needs to be a moment, at some point. We cannot keep that window forever open. And fourth, because if we would keep that window open forever, we would have a technical problem, namely that we would need to carry a reference to the outside of Trac network at all times. At some point, you don't want that anymore, right? So this means we will most likely start way less than the initial 21 million supply. So here's the next, I believe, fifth thing. There will be a deflationary and inflationary element to that. But because we're constant, we have constant costs, and I do not want that when transactions speed up, that the asset itself asks for more of itself, to perform a transaction, and on top of that, the price nominated in USD goes up. I don't want to go through these hoops. But what I do know is that these typical fiat currencies like the euro and USDC, they're always like going up, down in the 2% areas, plus 2% inflation, minus 2% inflation. That's at least the goals. And what I want is literally that we have some flexibility there, depending on the activity, to have boundaries, in either direction, so that we have per year either a minus 2% deflation or at the upper boundary 2% inflation based on this experience. There are people from us, other developers that are sitting there that are fleshing this out, but this is basically what we're looking at. You're right. In principle, we have no cap like Bitcoin, but this is basically these are the bumpers that we're putting ourselves into, so to say. And that's probably where the impression comes from. There is an infinite supply, because once we are on, there's not going to be a change of that. So it's always going to be like that. I don't want to run in a situation is because the network traffic goes up, that you suddenly have parabolic transaction costs. In the other directions, I don't want that either, right? So, and I also don't want to control that algorithmically too much, right? So what options do you have, right? So you need to make it just like have like little bumpers, and then you let that thing go. We have a very strong thing here. We don't need much math because the gas cost will be constant. So it makes it very simple.
Yes. Okay. So basically, the supply is getting cut at first because a lot of people will not, and maybe they don't know if they have it or whatever. So when the transition happens and closed, the supply is cut potentially in half, maybe by 70%. And now you opening up a system where, hey, we're kind of like Ethereum in the sense of there is no known supply, but we're yes, new Trac is coming online, but some Trac is being burnt as well. Yeah. Okay. I completely understand now. I actually love that. Instead of making a new token, which you had to do.
Exactly. The big difference there between Ethereum is they have proof of stake, and our validators are license based, so they're not staking.
So old Ethereum.
They're owning. They're owning. That's what I'm saying. Like it's more like akin to Bitcoin and like philosophy in its philosophy, right? They are the backbone in the end. The validators are the backbone. And what I want is this, like, that this becomes a incentivizing network, not just for one party, but for multiple.
How many validators per subnet?
That's up to business. There can be thousands. We have a capped theoretical cap is 3,000 at the moment.
Okay.
I believe 1,500 licenses are out, and around about 300 are live.
Gotcha. And the idea is the more validators, the more security kind of approach, or what's the idea?
The more stable.
Stable. Okay.
Yeah. They are not only validating; they are also they're also adding to the connectivity of the swarm.
Yeah.
So it's a peer-to-peer swarm, right? And through their sheer presence, they already help.
Gotcha. And they're earning TAP, or are they earning Trac? Like the validators.
With the Hypermall, the deal is that they're earning 50% of the trading fees. That's how
nice.
Oh, okay.
So this is I actually
individually.
Yeah.
So even if you have like a not so good setup in mom's basement, you can still strike a big trade there, right? So it has some random element there too. So
absolutely. And so, like, if you have hot apps on your subnet, then you're gonna make out like a bandit. And the idea is to really get that first couple subnets really like one of them or a couple of them really hot with like hot killer app, and then what that's going to do is people are going to create more subnets. And so the incentive is for Trac, there is the license, which you have to have a certain amount of Trac in your validator to be able to run it, and that's where you're taking the supply. So I think actually this is a pretty darn good business model in terms of tokenomics. It plays out that way.
It's relatively nothing is risk-free. It's relatively risk-free, right? Because staking, that's what it is. It's staking. You put your stakes into it, right? So the only stake that you do is I don't know, it depends how many validators you own, right? But most of the people run that run 3-4 on one machine, like on their laptop, right? There's not, the requirement is not really high there, right? But there are app networks that I can imagine that do need some beef, like the tap indexing, is one of these. So and there's probably from the validators that I saw, but we were very much in touch with the people there, and support and things like that. But what I saw there, from the 300 that are active right now, they're probably maximum 50. They have the capability, to run something beefy like this. But then the deal with them will be that they're running tap, to do the job. So that's the idea, right?
Yeah, I love what I'm hearing. I love all this. This is really amazing. I want to jump over to Tap now. So you guys, last time we talked to you guys, were in the process of building something. At the time, we had no idea, but an amazing swap, right? And you guys are using different areas of crypto to do so. If you can dig a little bit into Taparoo swap a little bit, and I know you guys like kind of help those guys build that, but Taparoo swap, for anyone who doesn't know, swap, market, bridge. The bridge right now is from Tron and Ethereum, from my understanding.
Yeah.
The swap right now is Bitcoin. You can it's just on layer 1 Bitcoin, but there is assets over here already. So I can actually check these pools because I haven't checked them in a while, but there is liquidity right now, especially for the Tap Bitcoin. And I think the Block Runner guys added some liquidity for the NAP. If you can kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's it's not super high liquidity. Simply that's how the market is right now. Yeah, people just need to discover this. Literally, just there were people just popping up since a couple of days, right? Guys, I didn't know that this even exists. Who are you? Like okay. So but anyway, we will build basically all that stuff. It's there, it's available. It has been seeded with some initial liquidity there. It's actually usable, at least for the first 4 ones that are there. And the idea is basically the idea that I had back then with the TAP protocol to allow co-processing. So back then, when I was thinking, okay, how can we do all this, namely tokens on Bitcoin, right? With all that comes with it, and programmability. How can we do that even? And while keeping the ability to trade in this way, because that's what you need with an AMM. Not only creating an AMM, but creating a structure that allows you to do all sorts of things, not just an AMM, and that easy. And the idea was then not necessarily to create another indexer that runs an EVM index, right? So, but rather, what other L1s or even L2s are out there? That the idea was, what are other L1s and L2s out there that can do the processing, the logic for Bitcoin, and that's where co-processing has been established. And then I was looking a lot like through all sorts of different chains. Some I'm 100% sure they will make it, right? Some 100% sure they won't make it. But the best fit was ICP, Internet Computer, right? Because of its characteristics. And that plays well together also with the TAP protocol itself. So then I was thinking, okay, how is it supposed to look like? So people only want to use a Bitcoin wallet. They want to sign a transaction. They don't want an ICP wallet, right? So ICP fulfilled all that. So people don't even see that there is ICP running. So all check marks. That's also in science like that. If you set all check marks to green, right, then it's probably that thing what you are looking for, right? So your check mark 1, I can use my Bitcoin wallet. Checkmark B, I send in my tokens. Checkmark C, I receive whatever trade I do back in native Bitcoin. And that's literally what that does. There's always an argument: is that really L1 or not? I argue yes, simply because what we're doing there on ICP is there is a bot, a decentralized bot, literally running on ICP that manages the wallet. And if you or a bot or an AI agent operate on a Bitcoin wallet, it's still L1, you know. It's just that the execution environment is done by something, or in that case something else. And because they're using threshold signatures, so at no time you know about the know about the private keys, yeah, of the wallet that it operates, but it's still able to sign, yeah, things. It works that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And Trac Network, for example, is very similar to that, yeah. When it comes to capabilities, and we will see more and more of these networks popping up, I believe, in the next few years, yeah, that go in the meta, you know, in the meta direction, yeah. So it's interoperability, if you will, yeah. And I made a few other discoveries. Don't beat me to it. It's just research. Ripple can do that too. Can act perfectly as a co-processor. I'm just saying.
Really?
Yeah,
But-
I'm totally agnostic, right? I
Yeah.
look over everything. Cardano's great. Yeah. We just recently had a presentation with the Cardano team. What we are doing, similar to explaining to you, right? So what we're doing, and we can potentially go the reverse way on Cardano. Yeah. So basically synchronizing stuff between Cardano and Bitcoin that way. Yeah. The Meta protocol way. And the idea, the overarching idea of Tap protocol is simply, guys, we have that thing, Meta protocol, let's explore that further. Where can we get to with that idea? Yeah. So, and so we are right now at that point. Of course, we have digital matter theory incorporated, which also adds to the idea how to make the life of miners potentially easier in the future. Yeah, there's the MTNet is being provided to miners as rewards. Yeah, some miners are aware of that. Yeah, we're talking to miners and other people about that. But it's just something that needs to grow over time. Yeah, this is it's not a competition to Bitcoin. God forbid, no way, right? But this digital matter theory thing, right? The digital matter theory thing is something we strongly believe is going to play a role at some point. And if there's a way to show how miners in the situation that that things could potentially go, opens like an idea how to make their business still work into the future, even if the actual transactions, right, won't cut it anymore, you know. So that's we're also thinking about things like this. Yeah, that's of course also something that requires a lot of a lot of yeah, communication, yeah, to people. Yeah, right now, who sees the value of that, right? So, but I believe in the future something like this could actually help mining businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's definitely awesome to see how much you've grown and like the innovation you guys have done. It's absolutely awesome, especially for us we've kind of been watching since 2023. But we are up against it a little bit. I would love to keep this going, but we have our live stream in about 10 minutes. But I would love to give you stage one last time to talk to our audience or anything that you left out. So stage is yours.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. Yeah, to of course to everyone, you included, right? That you're still finding the time to report on all that. Yeah, and also the community that stays and sticks with us no matter what. Yeah, and also greet new people to the space. Especially greeting to the people who have a second look into Bitcoin right now, that had who had a look like a couple of years ago. A lot has changed, a lot is being done, there will be done a lot more. Yeah, and I believe Bitcoin as a platform is going to become huge.
Awesome, Benny. Well, thank you so much, man. It was amazing to catch up. It's been too long. We got to do these more frequently, but we know you're
Yeah,
super busy, and we look forward to the next one, sir.
yeah, I agree totally.
All right,
Thank you.
All right.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Benny.
Thank you.
Well, that was absolutely awesome, man. Benny is somebody who we looked up to for a really long time, right? He kept his head down building maybe a little bit too long, right? But now it seems like he's popped up and he's ready to market the crap out of this. And that's one thing that's really big. I mean, you can have the best project in the world, right? Have on the best, the fastest system, whatever. But without the marketing aspect of it, it's really not going to be pushed out to people who may not ever see it. And I think that's what he's doing now. And I really appreciate him giving us that opportunity to cover it.
Absolutely. It was definitely good to have our good friend Benny back on the show. I think the audience will really appreciate this episode as he goes into some great detail of what they are building right now, right? And it seems to be a solution for what the Bitcoin ecosystem needs, right? There's many solutions getting put out there right now, and I think this is one that's viable for sure. So excited, for this episode to get out and for the next time we have him back on. So
yeah, man. And thank you guys for watching.
Yep, for sure. And if you could check out our partners, we'd greatly appreciate it. Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator for the Bitcoin ecosystem. Visit satsterminal.com today to find the most liquid tokens and earn some Amber points along the way as well. Really simple. Head over to satsterminal.com and dive right in. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets in their blitz markets. Their blitz markets is kind of like a leverage type of fun environment. You get 10 minutes to make your bet, 10 minutes to see if you're correct. Head over to betbtc.win today to learn more. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling for you guys to be able to jump your ordinals from Bitcoin Layer 1 to other environments. I believe Ethereum is active now with, I believe it's Taproot Wizards collection there, right? So that's really exciting. And then you're going to be able to bridge over to Ethereum, Base, Merlin, Abstract, and then Solana eventually as well. Make sure you check out Agent AI Hustle, another product from the Emblem Vault team, help you get through the jungles of Solana by using Hustle as a research assistant, as well as kind of, doing some DeFi transactions on your behalf. And then also don't forget they have a room coming out in September. You can participate at OpenSea right now if you search Emblem Founder Vault keys. And in September, they will actually give you guys instructions on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. Head over to emblem.vision today. Artura Finance is the leverage and perps DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles like Dog Go to the Moon, Billion Dollar Cat, Ordi, and perhaps Sats as well. But you can also trade very popular tokens outside XRP, Tau, Ethereum, tokens like that. If you don't like trading, you want to participate in a passive way, you can do so by adding liquidity to their vaults. It helps kind of give more strength to the platform there, and you can earn passive income that way. Make sure you head over to their Discord, get connected if you want to learn about trading, but be ready as well because you're going to be able to earn XP with their platform as well. Head over to artura.finance today. And then Fluid Tokens is the UTXO wizard devs of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They have platforms for Cardano as well as Bitcoin. Right now, they have staking vaults on Bitcoin. They have an airdrop tool for runes airdrops. But if you did stake your dog, make sure you go claim that and you can get your original staked amount of dog plus the rewards in one transaction. And then on the Cardano side, make sure you check out the Aquarium platform so you can learn how to earn Babel fees over there by participating. Head over to fluidtokens.com today. And then Tokyo Wallet is the multi-chain smart wallet for everybody, the best user experience possible. If you have an iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store to download that app. If you have an Android, head over to their Google Play Store to download it. You can swap for meme tokens on Cardano, or you can swap on for runes on Bitcoin, as they partnered with Sats Terminal on that side. They're going to have more ecosystems integrated into their app for you guys, but it's a one-stop shop. It's amazing UI. Download the app. Let us know your feedback and we'll let the team know, but it's definitely a great tool to make sure to try out, and you have access to runes and Cardano meme coins right now. Head over to tokyo.io today. And then Merlin Chain is the Bitcoin layer 2 that is integrated AI with their Wizard AI 0.03 to help you guide you through Merlin's ecosystem, as well as help you possibly, if you want, you don't have to use the wizard, or you can do it manually by staking for the proof of stake. You have a flexible option that earns you 15% APR. You do have to wait 7 days to withdraw that, though, but you can put in the withdrawal any day. You're not locked into a certain time period for that. Or the bonded, which does lock you in for 6 months, and then you can earn up to or earn 45% APR in that, and you can actually collect your rewards on a daily basis that way. So we're all adults here, so make that adult decision on your own, what's best suited for you. But excited for that team. Head over to merlinchain.io today. And our integrated partners as well, Jungle, which was formerly Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, as well as their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. And they are helping assist with the Bitcoin Derby as well, kind of helping build that out. And then Ordinal Hive is the aggregator Ordinal marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem, similar to what Sats Terminal is doing with fungibles, they're doing with Ordinal. So cheapest Ordinals around will be at Ordinal Hive, and they have amazing trader tools there. So thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job on that, man. If you guys have a few more minutes, wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. We have some of the best articles, guys. Articles taking you all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today, guys. Check that out right there. If you guys need a VPN, check out NordVPN, my personal favorite. I locked in 2 years. I think it cost me like $64. Locked in for 2 years. Set it, forget it. I always have my VPN ready for when I check out sites like the Believe app, like anything, because I do not go to any sites without my VPN on, and I highly recommend you guys do the same. And if you guys need merch for any event that's coming up, or just kind of lounging around at home, we got the best hoodies, jackets, shirts, school bags, and so much more. Check it all out here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction.